All right, my friends, welcome to episode 88 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am the man who really likes the Wonder Woman movie, the Professor, Larry, and over there's Anthony. Have you seen that movie?
I have not, and I don't think I'll see it in theater, actually. I wanted to see if my wife wanted to go to it, and she's like, meh, whatever.
Really?
She really doesn't like DC.
Okay.
And she doesn't care what it is. She's like, that's cool, it's getting good reviews, and it's woman director and female led, but she's like, no, she's like, I've never, and she was actually going back to the like even older DC movies. Like she doesn't really a huge fan of the Nolan Batman.
Oh, really?
Like
that whole
she
trilogy?
sees them as they're good movies, but she just was like, whatever. I'm like,
oh, so
she's
she
like,
really doesn't
she's
like
like,
DC.
Her exact thing with Batman is like, get over your shit. I'm tired of it.
Okay. Yeah.
She got really, she gets really annoyed at the angsty amount. And actually she really likes the Batman animated series because it gets over that shit. And it's just Batman being cool.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not dragged down with this like super dark, brooding personality. I'm just like, I'm solving crimes, being awesome. And she's like, yeah, that's kind of what I want.
Right, that's interesting because I think that's a common criticism of DC compared to Marvel. Marvel's like more bright and kind of funny, and
and
DC
she likes all the Marvel
very
movies.
broody. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, as long you have your reasons for not going, that's great. Hopefully, you'll see it one day though, because
I do want to see it myself.
Yeah,
I did suffer my way through Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and I would really like a good DC movie. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I too suffered. I didn't watch Man of Steel because
I didn't watch Suicide Squad. I already heard enough horrible crap about that. I was like, nope, avoiding. I was out already.
The only DC movies I've seen, I mean, obviously the Batman trilogy, or basically every Batman movie I've seen. I did not see Suicide Squad. I did not see I don't like Superman that much. So I don't really watch Superman movies. But Batman vs. Superman I did watch. And I thought it was more enjoyable than most people think, just because it was just dumb popcorn. But there was some stupid parts to it.
Yeah, and I think that's the unfortunate thing. The bar is so high for superhero movies.
Yeah.
They can't be just dumb popcorn anymore.
Right.
And even with Batman as a character, they can't be dumb anymore.
Yeah.
Me, myself, I actually really do. I like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, like everybody. Mm-hmm. And then I like the old, I like the original Batman movie quite a bit. And the Tim Burton back in the, what was that?
Right.
Early 90s.
Right, but not the Clooney years.
I do not like the Clooney one. I actually do have a soft spot for the Kilmer one.
Really?
The one that had Jim Carrey in it. And
yeah.
It's just off the wall absurd. Like,
yeah.
I can find it, like, it's not... I bet watching it now, I would probably find a lot more faults in it, but when we were teenagers, I was like, yeah, this movie is just goofy and fun. And it, like, felt like the old, like, Adam West-ish.
Right.
Cheesy Batman. But I really like the first two Nolan films. The third one I was just thought dragged, but that's my own take.
I'm not sure. I like the third one. I don't know if I don't think I saw the Heath Ledger one.
Really?
Yeah, that's the first one, right?
No, that's the second one. That's The Dark Knight.
Okay. I don't think I saw that one.
You've never seen that one?
I don't think so.
That is incredible. Like,
yeah, which is
it
crazy,
is one
right?
of the best movies probably made in the last century, maybe. Like, it's up there. All propelled by Heath Ledger's performance.
Right.
Like, you're like, how can anyone beat Jack Nicholson as the Joker? Well, he found a way.
But he manages to do it.
He found a very unique way of making that villain.
I've definitely seen clips of him as
Joker. I think you have to see the whole thing to really understand. Like, seeing certain clips of him, you're like, oh, he's doing this interesting take on it. But when you see it all put together and the really, like, how he propels that movie, it's insane. But yeah, Wonder Woman I want to see. I'm really kind of going to be like, wow, is it going to be such a disappointment to go to Justice League now? They
showed a trailer for it beforehand, and
I just expected it's tonally just different.
Than Wonder Woman, or than
Avengers? Than Wonder Woman. Like, the tones that have been set in Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League are very different tones than what Wonder Woman, I've just heard Wonder Woman is.
Right, and I agree with that. I think it's reminiscent of Batman vs. Superman in terms of tone.
I mean, it's Snyder, it's the same guy, and
I read something, and I don't know if this was like a joke or something, but that's Snyder had some personal family.
He did.
Okay, so
and
then
Whedon is finishing it, which it's already been filmed. Whedon's it's doing any reshoots that need to happen.
Yeah,
and editing.
Okay,
so which is cool, but it's still like even Whedon's put out that this is Snyder's movie, not his.
Right,
and so it will feel like a Zack Snyder movie, which is Man of Steel and that movie Superman.
Right,
which
not exciting.
No.
So, I mean, I want it to do good. I want it to do well. I think that it's a cool concept, and I like the DC characters. I think more than your wife.
Yes.
But I'm not, Marvel is definitely the stronger properties for me, but.
Yeah, I hope that unfortunately, Justice League is coming out. I mean, it's already almost done. It's done shooting, and they're doing the reshoots and everything now. So it's not like they're going to be able to adjust tone or adjust for the success of Wonder Woman, because it's been a very successful weekend for Wonder Woman.
Well, and I kind of wish, to bring it back to video games, that the rumored Rocksteady game, the Justice League, or at least Montreal studio, whatever, actually was a Wonder Woman game. Because after the movie, I thought, I really want a Wonder Woman game, like an Arkham Knight, but Wonder Woman, like something like that.
That'd be awesome.
It would have done gangbusters right now, I think. So I'm happy the movie's doing well, and it's the biggest debut or biggest launch, I mean, for a female director, beating out 50 Shades of whatever. So that's cool. And I really liked Monster, which was Patty Jenkins' last, I guess, major movie.
Yep. Which was the indie thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, it was actually a really good choice by Warner Brothers on this one. It was a very different choice, which is good.
Yeah, no, they took a risk. I mean, it sucks that it's a risk, but it was great.
It's the same type of risk. Like, if you look, hopefully this is more than Warner Brothers looking at, like, look at what Marvel does. And they're like, let's pull in, you go back to the first Iron Man, Jon Favreau. I mean, why would you pick him to do Iron Man?
Right.
Like, he hasn't shown any chops at action or anything like that. Or James Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean...
Right. And that was super successful.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at that and you're like, this dude's only done, like, small-scale horror films. Like, cheesy horror films. Why would you think he is the person to bring this to the screen? And I feel like Warner Brothers saw that with, like, they're like, we want to do Wonder Woman. Let's find a female director to do it. I mean, there's big-name female directors they could have chose.
Right.
They're like, let's choose. Clearly someone there was inspired, like, this is the person that would understand this. And...
it was well done. It was there. Some of the CG was a little rough, not super rough, but just a little weird. They kept doing kind of the same shot over and over again, which was a little. After you see it like the third or fourth time, like you can kind of see. That when I was talking to my wife about it, she was like, "Oh, the slow-mo." I was like, "No, the part where Gal Gadot like ducks and you're looking at like her eyes and her forehead, and then she leaps forward." And it's like they did that same move several times. It's like you start seeing behind the curtain when you do it enough times. But the slow-mo was definitely a little overdone.
So you want a random fact? With Whedon going back to do the reshoots, he was originally doing a Wonder Woman movie.
What happened to that?
Warner Brothers, basically, they separated ways because this was like before he ever did Avengers. Mm-hmm. This is a long time ago. Like before they were ever doing Man of Steel or any of that. Like he was doing a Wonder Woman movie. He had written it, and they couldn't come to terms with the script.
Oh.
He wanted you have to go back and read it, but they wanted very different things at that time. Mm-hmm. And so he left and he got to do the Avengers.
Wow. And now they're like, please come back and finish our Justice League.
Help us.
Yeah, that's cool. So this is Prof and Dev Play Games. This is a video game podcast, but we do like movies and nerdy things too. So you come here for all things nerdy, including games. This week this is our huge episode. This is the E3 prediction episode. We're going to start with our video game club selection for May, which was First Light, which is kind of the standalone DLC for Infamous Second Son. After that, we will get into our E3 predictions, and then we have news this week from Nintendo, some really stupid news from Nintendo, some PlayStation news, Final Fantasy VII, Shadow of War, Valve, and then we'll get into what we're playing. Some Resident Evil 7, Injustice 2, Persona 5, of course, because he's still neck deep in that.
Still in it.
Yeah, so that's our episode this week. Let's start with the First Light. And I kind of want to start with you because you started and finished it yesterday, right?
I did.
Okay. And just for the listeners, just so the listeners don't know, every month we pick kind of a small-ish game for our video game club, and we play it, and then we talk about it the first podcast of the next month, which is this podcast. So, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was okay. Not great, but okay. But it went on probably about a half an hour longer than it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
I was really kind of like, I thought the game was over at one point. Well, there will be spoilers here.
Yeah, of course.
Whenever you blow the dude out of the prison.
Yep.
And then you're running through the snow area, I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yes.
Like, this just should be over. I don't need to do this. You can just tell me that Fetch killed him. It's cool. Like, story beat done. Like, there's a couple points where it just dragged on. Like, they had a small story to tell, but then they're like, we gotta pad this because it's DLC and make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, and I kept coming back to the fact that I thought they added that last section, which I had the same reaction that you did, because they wanted to connect it to the beginning of Infamous Second Son, so they had to get from the prison to the part where the car, overturns or whatever else.
Yeah, but they could do that anyway. Like,
yes,
because she's taken back.
Right.
Like, the part where the car's turned over happens much later.
Right.
You just know that Fetch is all right. That the warden, the big, was it PUD? PU?
Oh yeah, PUD, I think.
Yeah, the head of PUD is like, good. She killed him. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, and then they do cut to the point where she's in the truck, but that's after she's already been in prison for however long. We don't know.
Oh, that's true.
So that's my thing. I'm like, there's no reason for this section.
Yeah.
Like, so I beyond that, I enjoyed the movement quite a bit.
Yeah.
The flying around as light. It looked good. Looked really, the use of the neon lights and all the particles I appreciated. Beyond that, it was kind of just, I don't know, somewhat boring open world.
Yeah, I felt about it the way that I felt about Batman vs. Superman as a movie. Like this okay popcorn movie. It was an okay popcorn game. I really did not like the flash forwards, I guess, where she's in the prison.
That
doing
was
like
another part that just felt padded.
It was totally padded. And it's like setting you up to go back to this battle simulation so that you can start racking up points and getting trophies or whatever. But it was just the conceit is that most of the game is a flashback. She's Fetch is telling her story to the head of the DUP or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you come back to present day, where you're doing these, it sets up like these battle simulations and you're trying to show her all your moves, and it just tonally didn't match. It was really
not at all
weird.
Again, it was padded. Like,
yeah,
they were just trying to add some form of additional content to make it last longer, but
right.
It at no benefit to the story.
Yeah. I think if you told me play Infamous Second Son or play First Light, I would say play First Light. I felt like it was a more compact game. I thought the movement was much better than Delsin. And it just, everything seemed more compact. Like, you could get to places easier. The story to me was more interesting. I really don't really like Infamous Second Son that much. It just seems like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And you kind of are in this one too, but it's 3.5 hours. Like, it doesn't
wear out its welcome, really.
Exactly. Right. So I would land where you are. Like, this is an okay. Like, it was a PS Plus game years ago or a year and a half ago. Like, it's free. Play it. I think it's worth it. I don't know if I would go out of my way to play it though.
No. It still goes back to show me that at the time, like the Infamous series, they're okay open world games.
Yeah.
Like, especially now after playing Zelda and Horizon and things like that, I'm like,
right.
No, this genre has moved so much farther than this. The like random races to get upgrade points, or learning like, all right, there's this little floaty thing in the sky. Okay, how do I do the right wall running and jump to get high enough to get it? Like, or just random tagging the graffiti.
The graffiti.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did a bunch of those. To me, it seems like trying to do like the Assassin's Creed thing, but poorly.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was definitely done in a shorter time frame. Like, you're
that's
like,
right.
Yep, we have the city map. We had the Seattle map from Second Son. Let's just go down the checklist of things that we're supposed to do for an open world game.
Was it the exact same map?
I'm almost certain. I don't know exactly. It's
okay.
So
it just seems smaller to me. Yeah, it just seems smaller. Be. Or else she just moves faster. So
that is also very possible.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it looked pretty on a PS4 Pro. I'll say that. Yeah. But I hear that, like you said, it looks pretty on a regular PS4 too.
Yeah.
But I'll say this for the game. It's the first video game club selection where I started it early and that didn't stop. I wanted to keep playing it. So it really, I don't know, it engaged me.
Yeah, I wanted the story.
Yeah. But then, honestly, like thinking about the story before this podcast, I was trying to remember everything. I was like, well, I don't remember most of it. It was very fleeting.
Yeah, there's a lot of side stuff. But what's the main thrust is you and your brother, Fetch and her brother, trying to leave town. Boat gets destroyed. Brother gets kidnapped. You try to get brother back. You get betrayed. Brother's kidnapped again. And then you're now doing stuff for this basically crime boss of the city.
Right.
And miscellaneous tasks. And then he double crosses you. You get pissed off. Sets you up. You kill your brother. And then you get taken into custody, and then you kill him because the DUP wants you. Like, here, look you can kill him. There you go.
Yeah, here he is. Go kill him. Yep, that's basically.
I mean, it's the basic. I mean, and then it's padded out in certain places where you're like, okay, that's interesting, but it's a pretty simple story overall.
Right. Yeah, and I don't even know if the story was something that was pulling me along. It felt mechanically good.
Yeah.
It felt fun until I got to those battle simulations, and then it was just like, let's try to put it down and then come back later.
Yeah.
So overall, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
If it wasn't for those sections, I would actually probably recommend it more. Like if it were like a 2.5 hour experience instead of the 3.5 to 4, it would have been a much better game, I think.
I think even if it's, I had it, but I saw that it was on the flash sale whenever we chose it at the beginning of the month. It was like $6. I'd be like, yeah, $6, do it.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're interested in that lore. I've never played an infamous game except for Second Son, so I don't really care much about the series. Yeah. So, but this one was good. It was fun for what it was. But I don't want to say like forgettable. That seems really harsh. But I didn't really think about it much after I finished playing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. This isn't going to be one that sticks with me.
Nah. So, but you're up for choosing our
I am
June.
Choosing. So I have. Like you, I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
Do you want a 2D Metroidvania style game, or a like very artistic, open world light puzzle game?
So, are you asking me if I want Dead Cells or something else?
Yes.
I want Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, it is then. It is also early access still, but I have seen some people streaming it. But it looks pretty well done so far.
Our mutual friend Travis.
Yeah.
Just raves about that game.
Okay.
He is like just balls deep in it and just loves it. I don't know why I said balls deep.
The reviews have been super positive for it. So
yeah, really, really good. Yeah, when you had mentioned it earlier, and I said like, oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I was thinking of Dead Cells. So that's great.
There you go. Yeah, that was. I wanted something newish that's a popular indie on Steam that we can kind of play it while it's fresh in everyone's mind.
Yep, that's cool. We tend to focus on like the older ones with the game club, but that doesn't mean we have to. So it's good to kind of get into there are games that we don't even talk about that are brand new that are out, like that. The hell is it called? PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. We've never talked about it, but it's like taking everyone by storm.
Oh yeah, like I'm pretty sure its sales are ridiculous right now.
Yeah, it's $30 on Steam, and it's been the number one seller for weeks and weeks.
Yeah. Who knew that would be the game?
Yeah, it's crazy. If I start that game, I will never stop playing it.
3 million owners so far.
Damn.
3 million. And
that's a lot of cash.
It started as a mod for
DayZ or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DayZ or Army 2. I don't remember exactly which one. Army 3. But either way, it's seriously. So I'm trying to look. So we're at the third. So it's basically sold 200,000 copies this week. more.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what it's doing. About a week is about 200,000 copies.
Yeah. Well, Risk of Rain is about to sell 2 more copies, so good for them.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, it looks fun. Looks up both of our alleys a bit.
Absolutely. And, coming into E3, I know people are saying the word Metroid a lot, so
yeah.
Here's something that, there's just so much love for that game that there are so many Metroid clones that are being sold. It's crazy.
And this one seems to combine the roguelike and the Metroidvania. Like, it's at least trying to be a new take on that style of game.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And it looks fucking gorgeous, I think. So
yeah, great pixel art.
Every time I turn on Steam, I look at it, I'm like, my fingers hovering over it because our friend Travis is just in love with it. And it's like, no. Now I have an excuse to say yes. So thank you.
All right.
Thanks for getting me to yes. Speaking of Metroid and E3, we are also going to do some E3 predictions. I went a little crazy. I have 7 predictions. I don't know how many you have.
I have about 4 or 5.
Okay, cool. And then we'll kind of go through this.
Okay. Where do you want to start? Do you want to go by company?
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
Let's start with Microsoft. Let's just start there.
Let me figure out the ones on my list that are Microsoft. I think I have 1.
Yeah, Mine is not a good prediction either.
Oh shit. Okay, here we go. Lay it on us.
My prediction is they're not going to show any the exclusives they show. They're going to be showing the next like, am I spacing on the open world game's name? Crackdown.
Crackdown.
They'll show a Crackdown. Mm-hmm. They're going to show Sea of Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a Forza thing for Scorpio.
Right.
And nothing else.
You think there's going to be nothing new?
I don't think they're going to have anything like beyond those like kind of things. There's not going to be any. They may show smaller things new, but they're going to have no major like IP for Scorpio.
So no AAA, big AAA.
Nope.
Dude, that's
my prediction is that they're not prepared. They do not have like everything's going to go into Crackdown for the most part and Sea of Thieves. Those are the first party games that they have.
It's really funny that that's your prediction because I wanted to write that one and I didn't. I tried to do something positive for them because I totally agree with you and I hope we're wrong because if you're right, that's really bad for Microsoft. That's bad for Xbox.
I just haven't seen anything that shows me that they have something lurking in the shadows. That
Battletoads. No, that doesn't count.
No, because isn't Rare doing Sea of Thieves?
They are.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure all of Rare is on that. And then there's all the rumors of Crackdown 3, and so there's another big team. We know that 343 isn't anywhere near another Halo at the moment.
Right.
Like, that's not in time. We just had the other shooter that they do, the third-person shooter.
Gears of War? Gears
of War. We just had another Gears of War. So I would expect a pretty version of that. But maybe some remastered stuff, older stuff. But when you're looking for new, exciting things, I don't think they're bringing it. That's my prediction.
That's crazy. If they're just going to ride the hardware and nothing new, that's like a death no, I think. And I think you're not wrong. So
I could also see them. Here's a second. They've had a success with bringing like some of the Steam early access stuff over.
Yeah.
So we just talked about Battlegrounds. I could see them maybe trying to get a console exclusive for that.
That would be crazy.
I would not be surprised because Microsoft's been looking into that area quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they already did it with Ark, I believe.
Right.
Originally. So I could just see them being like, oh, Battlegrounds is the next big thing on Steam that come out of nowhere. It's an early access. Sure, let's take that.
Well, that makes sense because Xbox, if I think about Xbox and Sony, like Xbox really focuses on the online multiplayer and Sony's a lot more about the single player experience. But I listened to a podcast with the guy who did Player Unknown, that guy, who did and he was talking about how they're working right now on getting the game ready for consoles. So I wonder if that means puts a wrench in your guess there.
Maybe it does.
Or maybe he's throwing people
exclusive.
off.
I totally see him taking some extra money for a timed exclusive, and they pay for the marketing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, those are my Microsoft related ones.
Okay, I've got one Microsoft one, and my Microsoft one is original Xbox backwards compatibility announced. So a couple of years ago, they did Xbox 360. I think they're going to do regular Xbox back compat now. And it kind of feeds into what you're saying, like nothing new. I think they might be playing on the nostalgia of people.
What is there that is really nostalgic beyond the first Halo?
For Xbox regular?
Yeah.
I have zero idea. I never played it. I don't know.
I think it's really just the first Halo is the only one that... I mean, I still have some of those games somewhere. I still have the original Xbox.
For me, it's more about just like conjuring up the nostalgia people have for the old Xbox properties. And I'm assuming, taking a blind guess, that there is something on there that people are wanting to play. Like, I don't know, KOTOR, maybe.
No, that's true.
Maybe a KOTOR, new BioWare KOTOR game. I don't know.
No.
But I think that they're going to play heavily on nostalgia this time. You might see a new Battletoads. You might see all the Forza, Crackdown 3. Like the only new game really is going to be Sea of Thieves. But I think they're going to do original Xbox backwards compatibility, and that is my only Microsoft prediction.
Poor Microsoft.
I know. I got rid of my Xbox, and I don't care that much anymore.
Prove us wrong, Microsoft. Prove us wrong.
They have to.
Actually, I really want them to prove me wrong. Because
competition's good?
Yeah, competition is good, and that means they're actually, like, focused on their, like, console division.
Well, I would like to think that spending so much time and money on this Scorpio means that they are, but that they have to know it's more than just hardware. They've got to have games.
Oh, yeah.
And Sony's just killing it with that, so.
A little bit. So who's next, Nintendo or Sony?
Let's do Sony. Let's save Nintendo for last.
Okay. So, you take the first one out of here.
Okay, so for Sony, I'm going to say that they're going to announce Bloodborne 2, and it's going to release this year.
I also had that prediction. Not that it's this year, but I definitely had the prediction. I think it will be spring of next year.
You think, really? Spring?
Not this year. It will be the same time frame as, like, Neo.
Yeah. Like the Q1.
Q1, yeah.
It just seems like such a Halloween game to me.
It does. I just don't think it will be ready. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem about the right. I think it still needs a little bit more time. But yeah, that was one of my predictions, was Bloodborne 2. It's a Sony exclusive.
Yep, absolutely.
Pretty sure From's work. Bloodborne is so well received, I cannot imagine that Sony wouldn't be like, yeah, we want a second one.
No, they're absolutely doing it. And it's just a matter of when, not if, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it gets announced this year. And I do think it releases this year just because I think they want to hit that Halloween time. That's a really good time to sell it. But who knows? It'll sell at any time. My
other thing because I think Sony had a 2 or 3 game deal with From.
Mm-hmm.
For this new stuff. My other prediction on Sony was that there's going to be a new Armored Core game, which is the other From game.
Right.
And that will be PlayStation exclusive.
That would be...
And it will be announced like...
really rad.
It won't be coming out for a while, but they'll actually just show it off. I'm almost certain from all the rumors I've read that From is working on another IP than their Soulsborne stuff. They're working, which would probably mean that it's Armored Core.
Yeah. That's the one that I hear the most chatter about people wanting. You don't think their new IP is something they're doing for Switch?
No.
Because they are a partner.
Oh,
they are.
We'll see
so
what
I
they
don't
end
know
up
what
doing.
that means. It was like a Dark Souls trilogy pack or something.
Yeah, but that's not even them. That would be Namco Bandai. So From is the developer, but Namco Bandai
is the publisher.
Is the publisher and owns the Souls IP.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure Sony has ownership of Bloodborne IP.
Oh, they 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that that's how it works. Because Namco Bandai has put out other things named Dark Souls things, like various horrible things that are like really bad decisions, but they called them Dark Souls. So.
And you're not talking about Dark Souls 2. You're talking about other stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, other stuff. Oh, that's a nice little burn there.
Thank you. My friend, our friend Travis, when that flash sale a couple weeks ago, I picked up Bloodborne with all the DLC, and then I picked up
Dark Souls.
Fuck, thank you, Dark Souls 2. He was like, "Yeah, play Dark Souls 2 first, because once you play Bloodborne and really get into it, you will hate Dark Souls 2." I'm like, okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I put a couple hours in the Bloodborne. Have you played it a little bit, right?
I did. I at least played 5 or 6 hours of Bloodborne.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of where... I started getting through some shortcuts and unlocked some shortcuts from the first one. I beat one of the bosses.
Okay.
And then I was having a hell of a time getting the shortcut so that I could get quickly to the next boss, and I just kind of burn out. I was like, I don't want to slog through this again.
Yeah. Well, it's coming up to you, because since I have a digital with all the DLC now, in that sale, I'm sending you the disc.
Maybe I'll try it again. See if I can really get into it this time.
I did it for like a couple hours, got to the first boss, couldn't beat the first boss, and got frustrated because I had to keep running back, and I was like, fuck this. Yep. But I understand that's the point, so I'll get back to it. So my other prediction for Sony is Until Dawn 2. I think we'll hear, this is like the out of left field kind of guess. That's unlikely, but popular game that we haven't heard anything about the next one. They did that Rush of Blood for VR, but I think that there will be an Until Dawn 2, at least teased. Yeah. So ideally it would be announced and coming out Halloween time, but we'll see. That came out 2015, I think. So this has been a couple years.
Yeah. Another thing that I had thought of, we were just doing First Light, was what's Sucker Punch doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll see that at E3, at least a teaser for it.
And you don't even no guess.
I know, I have no clue what it is. I don't think it's another Infamous right now. I think they're done with that for the time being. But I mean, Sucker Punch has now done open world. They've done the Sly Cooper stuff before that, so I would expect some form of like open world platformer-y type thing. So
yeah,
we'll see what it is. I think new IP though. I think they'll be showing off something new. So I think that's one of my key things with Sony is you're going to see continuations of stuff that they have, but you're also going to see some new IP sprinkled in that you'll see again next year at E3.
Right. Well, you saw the artwork. Maybe I think it was on Reddit where the stuff's starting to go up in downtown LA, and it's the God of War ad. Yeah. So that seems
not
like
much of a prediction, but I have a feeling that we're going to get a lot more information about the next God of War. So
yeah, we're probably going to get a release date, I would say.
There's going to be a lot on that. So
yeah, that's cool. The rest of mine are Nintendo. I got
one more. The way out there one.
Yes,
I'm sitting there thinking about Sony. I'm like, the crazy thing they could do is a new handheld.
Vita 2.
I don't know if they call it Vita 2, but really push the remote play aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not even as a side thing. Like, don't sell it as its own thing. Sell it as a companion to the PS4.
Yeah.
Like, it can play its own games, but really why you want this thing is it allows you to remote play your PS4 games. And really push that angle. Like,
in a way that Vita doesn't. Because Vita does that.
It does, but they never pushed Vita. They never pushed Vita that way.
Yeah.
And now with the Switch being as popular, they can be like, fine, here's Vita 2 or whatever they want to call it. And they never really said that the Vita and the PS4 are the same brand, really. They're both PlayStation, but they're two distinct things.
Right.
I really think they should just they'll push a handheld that this is an extension of your PS4.
So I was listening to the Easy Allies podcast this week.
Yeah.
And some of the scuttlebutt they've heard is that, and I don't know if they necessarily believe this rumor, but that there's a revision of the PS4 coming where it is a handheld PS4, like straight up handheld PS4. I don't see how that's possible.
I'm questioning that right now, but sure. I don't think things have miniaturized enough to make that happen.
Right. That would be fucking hot in your hands, I think.
Be very hot. I mean, I'm looking at you have this. They reduced it to the Slim now. The PS4, the Slim one.
Is that the one you have? No, you have the original.
I have an original. They would still have to reduce that quite a bit smaller.
Right.
To get into handheld and have it have some form of battery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that's likely. I think there is the potential that there could be a bundle PS4 thing that is like the PS4 plus the streaming device. Like, maybe it is just essentially a Vita that just strips out the ability for it to play Vita games. Like,
and just stream.
It's literally just a streaming screen.
As long as it works better than the Wii U gamepad did at streaming games, because that was junk.
Yeah.
No, that'd be cool to see. That's a bold guess, my friend.
Yes, it's probably wrong, but that's one thing that I felt that Sony is in a unique place where they might be able to do something like that.
Right, of course. I hope they do, because the Switch, I mean, I still play my PS4 more than anything else, but my Switch is just rad to play.
Yeah.
And, just handheld. I mean, it's not hard to understand why that's great. So that's it for Microsoft, Sony, and then you're on to Nintendo now?
Yeah, Nintendo.
Okay, so I'll give you my first Nintendo one, because it's kind of a Ubisoft one too. My prediction is that Assassin's Creed Origins will not be on Switch, but the Switch will get an announcement for something else Assassin's Creed. Either Syndicate or Black Flag or Unity or Rogue, something. There'll be, or even something we don't even know about. They will have Assassin's Creed something coming to Switch, but it will absolutely not be Origins. I
would agree with that. I think they're going to want that property on Switch, especially with Switch being as popular as it is. Actually, my prediction is pretty general in the fact that while you might not see the same games that are on Xbox One and PS4, I think all major publishers you're gonna see stuff for third-party support.
Okay.
Of like their big brands. So they'll be like, we need to make sure that we're there. So let's give them a Call of Duty. What else would EA, like some of the Star Wars stuff will probably be there. They'll probably do some Star Wars things.
But not like Battlefront 2.
No, I don't think they can do straight battle. Like the Switch just can't handle that.
Exactly.
Or they could if they really reduced graphics.
If that's worth their time,
and I just don't know if that's worth it compared to where you're talking about bringing what if they did a KOTOR 2
right
to Switch. I mean, they own that. I don't know if there's weird publishing stuff, like do a remaster of those onto the Switch.
That'd be dope.
Be a bad thing.
I would love to see the third party support be remastered versions of old games, because we know they could run on Switch, and to have those handheld for the first time is something new.
Yeah.
So I think that's rad.
I think that they can run on nostalgia there for a bit.
Yeah. Just make it a nostalgia machine, and that would sell it.
I mean, that's also brought into my thing. My other prediction, which we're going to see a lot of Wii U stuff announced as Switch versions now, remastered or not. So, Xenoblade Chronicles. I really hope Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Me too.
Oh my god! I was about to say that.
I hope so, because I
am still considering, like, is this on Amazon? Like, I have vacations coming up, and I won't be getting to it probably until midsummer. But if I still have your Wii U, I'm like, man, maybe I should just pick up Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
I would hold off until after E3 just to see if they do announce it. Yeah. Because it seems like an easy idea to do. If the porting is, I don't know, they know what they're doing with the porting. So it's something that a lot of people missed on Wii U that would sell pretty well on the fucking Switch.
And I think with Persona 5 doing as well as it has, it'd really behoove them to get something from the Shin Megami Tensei thing onto Switch.
I want to give you bonus points for your predictions here for using the word behoove. That was really nice. Okay. But no, every time I listen to a podcast where people are talking about Persona 5, they're saying, I wish I could play this on my Switch. So I think there's something there.
I think so. So yeah, that's my big prediction for Nintendo will be some new stuff, but you're going to see a lot of, like, maybe even just a sizzle reel through a bunch of Wii U stuff that they're just going to bring over the next year and a half.
Right. So I'll get in a couple of my predictions for Nintendo, make it a little quick. One, just kind of ties into what you just said. I think there will be a Smash Switch announcement. They will reveal one new character, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be an Inkling, and it's going to come out spring 2018.
I can see that.
Another prediction for Nintendo is that there will be no virtual console announcement from Nintendo. Classic games as part of the online that are already announced doesn't count as VC. I mean, like, proper VC. I don't think we're going to see virtual console at all, mainly because they still can't figure out their shit.
I actually think the virtual console is going to become this subscription thing.
That would be great. The Netflix for Nintendo.
I think they're just not going to call it virtual console anymore. It's just going to be this $20 a year. Look at, as we add old games, you can play them.
Dude, $20 a year is insanely cheap if that's what it's going to be.
Well, that's what it is. That's what they priced the current one at.
Right. No, and I imagine that was just going to be like old NES games.
I think it's just going to be all of it.
Good. If it is, that's just the biggest no-brainer in all of every history. So next one for me, I think, let's see, I got two more. I think that the SNES Classic will be revealed, and it's going to launch in the fall to holiday season, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then last one, Nintendo will not say the word Metroid anywhere in their presentation.
Wow.
Not even that they want to announce a game, but they won't even mention the word. Nope. And then really last one, way out there. Don't think it's going to happen, but I wish it would, because this would get me to play the game. Gwent for Switch.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
No, it's not.
But actually, a card game for Switch would be really cool, though.
Hearthstone would be pretty dope.
Hearthstone would be good.
Yeah.
But they haven't done Hearthstone for any consoles yet.
No. And, we can play it on mobile anyway, so.
Yeah.
Those are all of my predictions. I've written yours down as well, so we'll give ourselves points after E3 and see how well we did or how terrible we did.
And now with all that, into the news.
Oof. Okay, so I'm going to take this first one because there's going to be a lot of cussing. Nintendo, what the fuck are you doing? Their news this last week was about Splatoon 2 voice chat, which is fucking just looks ridiculous. I'm sure many of you have seen it. If you haven't, it's this like Y adapter thing that goes in this little squid box. One of the male 3.5 headphone jacks goes into your Switch. The other one goes into your cell phone because you're using the communication app on your phone. So you've got the Switch audio and the phone audio, and both of those things go into your headset so that you could do voice chat while you're playing Splatoon. So props to Nintendo for putting voice chat in, but what the fuck is this?
The most convoluted way to do voice chat ever.
And
this isn't really them. I mean, this is a third party.
Right, this is Hori doing this.
Trying to figure out how they do voice chat.
So do you think Nintendo comes in and says, no, this is stupid, we're doing something else? Like, I
would hope so. I hope they would see that everyone would be like, this is dumb. Just give us proper voice chat.
Well, and Nintendo did react to the $10-20 a year and you get like one virtual game every month and you have to return it or whatever. They're like, they heard that we said this is stupid and they changed their minds. So hopefully they do it with this too. But like the Wii, not the Wii U, the Switch Pro controller has no headphone jack, which is just ridiculous. So I don't know how they do voice chat while playing the game when you're docked, because this is a solution for handheld. Like it's in the Switch itself, and when I'm across the room, do I have to have like a 20-foot long headphone cord, or do they think I'm playing the sound over my speakers and then have my headset in for my phone? It's just like so convoluted, this bullshit.
I would agree.
They just discovered the internet exists or something.
Yeah. I don't know. You do bring up good points that the hardware really isn't designed for voice chat.
No.
At all.
No, it's not. It's not even in their design philosophy.
This is going to be so bad.
Really just, and this is something that I think we did like long time ago when we're playing online games with friends. Like when I played with my cousin Counter-Strike, we would get on what the fuck was it called, like Mumble or something, and just
Mumble
talk to each other. Yeah, exactly. So it's that same thing. Like my mom plays WoW. Let me just say that again. My mom plays WoW, and she like Discord or Mumble or Ventrilo. Yeah, she uses Vent.
Yep.
Talks to her friends through Vent while she's playing WoW, because there's no in-game chat in that. So I mean, on the computer it makes sense because everything's all there. This is bonkers. That's it. I know it's a first world problem, but I'm real pissed. I'm not pissed. Yeah, just dropping the mic. Get out of here. Like, what the fuck is this? And you're right, it is Hori, so maybe it's something different coming from Nintendo, but Jesus Christ.
But Nintendo hasn't actually put out anything themselves, so maybe everyone's just left to fend for themselves like this.
Oh, there's something at the end of this article too. What we were just saying, like this is Hori doing it. Maybe Nintendo will do something different. This article from Kotaku by Brian Ashcroft, at the very last paragraph, it says, before you say, well, this is just some licensed accessory, know that the headset that is this Hori thing actually appears in-game as an in-game item. It looks exactly the same. So,
yeah,
this might be real. I mean, this is real, but this might be the solution.
Yay. Hi,
Yay.
Nintendo.
Oh, fuck me. Like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah. Can't get everything right.
Nope. And yeah, I mean, it's just who the fuck, it's a conservative company. I understand that. Anyway, speaking of conservative, I guess the opposite of, PlayStation is proud to be sponsoring this year's Pride in London, which is great, because, obviously we both are very supportive of Pride, and all of our friends who are also, coming together to celebrate Pride. Our gay and lesbian friends and transgender friends, etc. I love to see, I will speak for you too here. We love to see big companies coming out and supporting, love and just tolerance and acceptance. And some of the reactions online are about what you thought. Yeah. And I just want to for people who are saying a company shouldn't be political. Sexual orientation shouldn't be political. It's just sexual orientation. People, this is nature, human nature. And we're the ones that make it political. To support people who are in love isn't political. It's just life. So, I don't know. Yeah. Some of the comments make me feel sad.
Oh, I'm sure. And they can. And all the people saying, I'm never going to buy Sony stuff again. Yeah, they will.
Of course they will.
They'll be hateful in their heart and their beliefs, but they won't back up any of that with anything. So yeah, Sony understands. I know a lot of people that have worked at Sony and stuff. They are an inclusive company. They do care. But beyond the people working there, it's good business to just be inclusive.
Right.
They see this. They're like, why would we want to discriminate against people?
Well, that's the thing is that if you look at businesses, they are inherently pretty conservative because it's about making money. The scales have tipped a long time ago. Yeah. If PlayStation came out and said, we hate gay people, we're not supporting anyone who's gay. If for example, a president of the United States, for example, didn't come out and make a pride statement for the first time since we've been doing this, that would elicit a more negative reaction than to come out and be positive about pride. So,
that's where we are, and it's cool to see Sony supporting this, just being open about it.
Yeah,
and it shows where we are as a society too.
That's the main thing for me.
We're going to be open about this. We don't care.
Right. Absolutely. That's where I feel this is too. It just says a lot about where we are as a society, and that just to see my favorite companies supporting my friends, right? My family. This is good. The next piece of news probably isn't good, or I don't know, depends on your perspective. But this is all up to you, man.
Yeah, so there was news that came out of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I didn't know this originally, but they were using some external studio help to get it made, which makes sense because it's huge and it's a big a big game, a big undertaking. But it sounds like they rumored that they pulled all of that in-house now. No more external companies, which probably means they were not happy with what the external company was doing.
Well, they say to maintain a stable schedule and have control over factors such as quality.
Yep. Pretty sure a handoff happened. They're like, nope, you didn't meet the milestones, or you did, and it looks like crap. It doesn't work. So we can't trust you doing this. We have to do this ourselves. And this probably just means this game's going to take so much longer.
Guess what year? 2020?
2019 or 2020 now.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be... Well, that's the thing. They're going to do it episodic, so we'll see. Maybe there'll be a first episode in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wouldn't expect episodes quick.
Right.
At least a year and a half between episodes. Maybe longer.
Does this make you sad, or do you care that much?
No, it makes me a little sad because it's going to be later, but I'm also happy that they care about the quality and understand that they cannot screw this up. That there's a lot riding on Final Fantasy VII, the whole thing, and expectation. And yeah, it's going to be a expensive, long process to get this done. And I think this is them pulling it in-house as being accepting what they have to do. So it's crazy. Eventually, one day, we'll get it, but that is not today.
I think my advice to Square Enix would be to not announce games ever, maybe ever, until they're ready to come out.
Yeah.
Jesus. This was announced in 2015.
Yep.
So that's crazy. Speaking of games that were announced that were delayed, Middle-earth: Shadow of War will now launch worldwide on October 10th instead of August. Basically, they want to make it as good as they can. The whole spiel about delaying games, and that's fine. Makes it a good game. I was a little conflicted because the original drop date was the same date as the new Uncharted DLC, or not even DLC, whatever, standalone game, Lost Legacy. So I didn't I obviously have the Uncharted pre-ordered, and I will pre-order this game too. I loved Shadow of Mordor, so kind of sucks, but it's only a couple months later. It's right in the middle of the heated season, though. August 10th. That's going to be up against whatever else comes out. I
don't think they really want to delay this, but if they feel that the game needs 2 extra months, they have to. Like, exactly for the reason you said. They were hoping to be out before the onslaught of fall games. They did not want to go up against everything. And now they're going to be right in the thick of it. They're going to be a couple weeks after Destiny 2.
I mean, this is, a couple. So Destiny 2 is actually September 8th. So it's about a month after. And I don't know if I don't know what the Venn diagram is of fans of Destiny 2 and fans of this one. So much as fans of Assassin's Creed and fans of this one. And those two games, I mean, obviously they're trying to differentiate themselves with the Nemesis system and the fortress takeovers and all that stuff, which looks cool. But you are climbing towers. You are activating nodes, to the area to see more quests or whatever. This has much more in the DNA of Assassin's Creed than Destiny 2. And to October 10th, it seems like that's close to Assassin's Creed territory there.
Yeah, you're pushing closer. This has to have just been a thing where they're looking at, like, this is how much work we have left to get done on the game. Just working backwards from the original date and going, like, there's no way. There's no way that we get this done.
And that's great. Like, we've said it a million times on this podcast. There's so many good games this year. Like, whatever. This could go to 2018 and I'd be like, okay, I'll play it in spring.
And I have a feeling this game will sell decently well no matter what.
Right.
The first one was very well received, and I think over the years has just continued to be thought of as a good game.
Right.
So I'm feeling like there's at least some level of, like, desire for the sequel.
Right.
So that's always a good place to be in for a developer.
Yeah, to have this kind of breakout hit and for people to be kind of chomping at the bit for the next one. I mean, that's great. And I feel like people are pretty cool with delays now. Not so much the Final Fantasy VII Remake variety, where it's like years and years and years, but a couple months, like, or, a quarter or half a year, whatever. Most people are pretty okay with that. We have so much to play, so.
It's true.
Speaking of so much to play. This news is right up your alley, man.
It is. So we talked probably however many months ago about Valve's getting rid of Greenlight, and they were going to just have people pay an upfront cost to publish. Well, the fee they've decided, $100. Super cheap. Oh my God.
That's crazy. It's really cheap.
Originally, like, you read the article and there's interviews with people at Valve. They were sitting for the longest time. I wanted it around 1,000.
Yeah.
Was where I wanted it for, just to keep that barrier of, like, no, if you want to really put your game out and go through Steam, be like, in reality, it needs to be more than just, I buy a template off an asset store for a game, theme it with a couple things, and put it up. And they decided that Valve was like, maybe 500 is where they had set themselves at for a long time. And then right towards the end of their discussions and stuff, they decided just to drop it to 100 and just let basically, and it's recoupable. So you just have to put $100 up front, and then if your game sells a certain amount, you get that $100 back.
So their solution to fix the problem they had before was to not fix it at all then?
No, they're definitely sitting here going, we'll just make sure that our discovery algorithms are good. Which has never worked for any marketplace ever.
We do our show notes in Slack. We put everything together in Slack and talk back and forth. When Anthony shared this news, or no, I shared the news and you shared your reaction to it about their algorithm. Do you remember what you wrote?
I think I do. Where is it? Oh yeah. Fuck. Our algorithms will be better than ever. This time it will work.
All in caps.
All in caps. All in caps. Put arrow, puts gun to head. Like, it, yeah. For me as a person, like, I get that you never know where the next hit's gonna come from, and maybe it will just be this random indie person that can afford $100 and couldn't afford 500. But man, does it get hard for people to find your stuff. And Valve's like, no storefront has figured this out. Like, proper discoverability. The iOS App Store hasn't. Amazon has done decently well, but it's still really messed up. If you just go to the Amazon homepage, it's like, sometimes they suggest things for me that work. Other times they're way off. because I randomly searched something at some point. So I don't trust. I would be much happier if they showed that the algorithms were working before they decided to just make it easy for everything to get on there. So that's where I'm at as a developer. I get it. This will make it so that people in poorer countries can still flip games really quickly, hoping to make a couple $100 on their games, which probably for them is more than enough money to live on.
Right. Yeah, and that's the piece that I'm okay with this pricing structure, because economies of scale, basically. Like, we can't shut out like not third world, but we can't shut out places where $5,000 or $1,000 to publish a game is kind of insurmountable. At the same time, you want to have some sort of barrier to make sure that what's going into the store is quality and not just games that like flip trading cards or whatever else.
Yep. And that's not going to stop anything now.
Exactly. So I don't think they fixed that problem here at all. And it seemed like there were 500 people in the room and trying to make a decision on this. And then when that happens, you don't get a good decision.
No.
So that's what
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
But talking about decisions.
Oh, geez. I think you posted this. Basically, this is, you found on NeoGAF. Something about the GameStop and Amazon having some sort of cross-pollination here.
Starting in June, Amazon shoppers will be able to apply their GameStop trade credit and cash towards their Amazon account.
Exclamation mark.
Yep.
That's what? So I take my slew of games into GameStop. They get to sell my used games. They give me my cash, and then I get to use that cash on Amazon and buy stuff at GameStop's competitor.
Yeah. True. Oh, this is the next part. Interesting. You can also request a barcode on Amazon.com cash that you can be used in GameStop stores. So you can use your Amazon credit at GameStop as well.
So there's this weird partnership between the two.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you think that means Amazon is going to be buying GameStop?
No.
Okay.
Amazon doesn't want a marketplace like a store.
They don't want like physical stores?
Well, they do, but they don't want that type of physical store.
Okay.
Like, you've seen the stuff about their convenience store, right?
Yeah.
See that? Like, where there would be no
you just pick up
teller. You just pick up what you want, put in a basket, and walk out.
Right.
I think they want that type of stuff, and they're looking at the future. They're not looking for a games and nerdery store. They have that.
The think geek stuff. Yeah, this is weird. I mean,
I think this is all GameStop just doing this.
Yeah. Well, and I thought, what's the use of this? And then your reaction, like when we were talking for the show, like what were you saying about
it's basically
through your house?
Like, I wouldn't mind having Amazon credit, so maybe there's games laying around that I can trade in to get Amazon to do this, so I can get Amazon credit, so that I can use my Amazon Prime discount to buy games that I want.
Right.
And then GameStop gets used games that they can resell, and that's some form of profit for them.
Yeah, I mean it's GameStop tripling down on the used games market, because that's about all that's going to keep them afloat, and that's not going to last for very much longer.
No, because everything is moving more digital. So
right. Although I did buy my PS4 Pro there, so I traded in my stuff there.
Yeah.
So there's I don't know, some value to the store.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, that's it's enticing to me only in the fact that I don't mind having some more Amazon credit lying around.
If there's things around the house you're not playing anymore, like the Xbox, for example, and the PS4 that was spitting discs everywhere. It made sense. And that's that's why I like GameStop, because it's a place you can trade in, even though the prices aren't always that great. And I do like Game Informer a lot. The podcast, the magazine, all that stuff. So
yeah, they're not completely over the hill yet, but
no. But in 10 years, is there still GameStop?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think so too. And they tried to move into like digital publishing, and with Song of the Deep and Deformers. But I don't know if that's really making a dent. No,
and I think they've missed the boat on a digital marketplace, so they can't even try to like adapt to that storefront, really. Like,
no, because
they've been eaten by Valve, and of course, and then Amazon does all the digital sales for all the consoles and everything, and then
which even with Amazon, like, there's no incentive for me to buy from Amazon a digital game when it's the same price on Sony, so I'll just log into my PS4 and buy it there.
Nope. But sometimes Amazon will have sales.
It's true.
It's rare, but that's the case.
Right. No, it's true.
But yeah, so I think that's all our news for this week.
Yeah, so now we can get into what we're playing.
I know.
So I'm going to go first. We'll get into Persona 5 in a bit. First thing I played, and I play about an hour every day, is Injustice 2. It's like my favorite fighting game I've ever played, which is not saying much because I don't like fighting games that much. But it's, as I've always said, it's just easy to get into. The combos are pretty easy to put together, and the super moves, everything just feels good. And it's a game where I can go online and win. My win percentage online is like 50%.
I saw that you got the trophy for 50 wins.
Oh my God, I was ecstatic. That's like the most rare trophy in Injustice 2 that I own currently. So basically there's ranked and then there's player. So playing ranked, you're playing people who are, going up the ladder or whatever and tend to be better players. So I did that first, got 10 there. But for player, you have to get 50. And to win 50 matches seemed insurmountable to me. But I would chip away at it, and every time I'd sit down and play, I'd play a couple player matches first, and I'd win one or two. But last night, I got on, and I played someone whose record was 0-1. They basically have never played any games online, and their overall player level was like 2 or 3. So they were just brand new to the game. So I played like 4 or 5 matches against the person. I just shredded them the first time. And then when I shred someone, I try to like ease up a little bit so they don't leave, because you can elect not to play the person again. So I shredded the person. And then the second game, I kind of lured them in a little bit, let them kick my ass a bit, got really close. And then I beat them because I still want to get the win, right?
Yeah.
And I switched characters to a character I'd never played before. I just hit the question mark, the random select. And it ended up being Scarecrow, which I'd never played before. And then the person beat me. Which is fine, because then the person's like excited. That was their first win ever. So I had them hooked. So went from like kicking their ass to like halfway kicking their ass to letting them kick my ass. And then I played them for another like 15 matches, and I won about 14 of them. So then the trophy popped. So I found a fish, basically. Reeled them in and then got my wins. So I was very, very excited because, there are a couple other online trophies that I'm probably not going to get. Like, you have to dethrone someone in the King of the Hill tournament, like someone who is basically beating everybody else. You have to go beat them, and I'm not that good. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I really have had aspirations to platinum this game because it seems pretty platinable. But some of these challenges, like, don't seem likely for me.
Yeah.
But just... it's fun. It's fun. Like the variety of characters, seeing the Wonder Woman movie, like maybe want to like get the Wonder Woman comics. I bought a few that I'm reading right now, and just playing DC stuff. It's a great game. It's so good. And then the other game I played is Resident Evil 7, which is crazy because I don't like horror games. But my friend Ted, who listens to our podcast, so shout out to Ted. Sidebar real fast. Shout out to Ted's barista at Starbucks, because the story is Ted was going through the drive-thru, listening to our podcast, and the barista said, "Hey, is that Prof and Dev?" And Ted was like, "Yeah." "How do you know?" He's like, "Well, I listened to him," which is crazy.
No, so that's not true. It cannot be true.
It seems unlikely, but my friend Ted is truthful, so I don't think he made it up. But it seems very unlikely. We do have quite a few listeners, but in the grand scheme of like the world population, not very much.
Yeah, you don't expect that someone's randomly going to know a podcast when you're going through Starbucks. That's
right. So if you're a barista in San Diego County and you listen to our show, shout out to you. Thanks for serving your caffeine. People love you. And shout out to Ted for telling me that story, because it just blew my mind. But him and I play horror games together. We played PT together, and we just screamed and, like scared little puppies. So we decided to do Resident Evil 7 together. So he came over to my house and we played for about 4 hours. We got through the first third of the game, basically. It's a couple of jump scares, but I was surprised at how much I liked the game. It's not like it wasn't that scary. It's just fucked up. It's like a Stephen King novel. I'm playing that Stephen King novel, but it's like a Metroidvania. You can advance until you get these certain puzzle pieces, or you get these certain abilities, or you I don't know. It's just you're going through this house and going to different areas, and then you come back to the area once you have a better weapon or a better skill or something like that. Not really a skill, but a weapon. it's just the character design is good. The story, I don't really want to spoil it, but you're coming back for your wife and some weird stuff happens with your wife, and it's just very engaging. And the gameplay is, for the most part, pretty fun. The first boss fight, or the second boss fight, I guess, was a little janky in terms of fighting the guy with he has like this dual bladed chainsaw that you're trying to like block it and like hit him with body bags and like come around at the back of him and try to basically attack him with your chainsaw. And it was a little janky, that fight, but overall the story and the gameplay and the thrill of the game is just utterly addicting. And it was just shocking to me. Like when he left, I was like, I want to keep playing this game. And I would never have thought that I would want to play a Resident Evil game, but okay, it's solid so far, and it's only a 9-hour experience. So I'm halfway or a third of the way through. So I might wrap it up. He's gone. My friend Ted's gone on vacation, so I've got his game, and I'll save our save file, and I'll probably plod on a little bit more. So those are the games that I have been playing.
I have basically been playing beyond the time I spent with First Light. Persona 5. I'm 80 some odd hours into it again now, so about 20 more 20 more hours in. I've unveiled the overarching villain and the whole thing. Like, it's now basically working to beat the game. Like,
okay,
unless there's some other crazy twist, I don't think there is. Like, the twists have already happened. I met back up with the timeline from where you start the game. I said it was told an unreliable narrative. Narrative. Mm-hmm. I hit that point.
Okay.
So now everything is happening past the point where you're narrating the game. So all the twists happen. It's good. It's still a really good game. I really love that they spent, honestly, half the game getting you into the characters and then pulling back and being like, oh, things are much bigger and a bit different than you thought. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, hopefully I'll beat it. I think I'll beat it this week, at least by the end of the weekend.
You think it's so you're not at the final dungeon yet, right?
This is either the final one. I should say this is probably the final one. I bet there's an optional one I can do though.
Okay.
Through the random dungeon. There's like a random dungeon area called Mementos, which is like just tons of floors, and it gets randomly generated every time. Mm-hmm. I know that there's a final area to it, which I will likely do. I just need to be ready for that. But I'm under time limit to finish this, who I think is the big bad in the game's dungeon. So,
well, I've heard from so many accounts that people are like, plod through the game, they get to the final dungeon, and then they sit down like, I'm going to beat this game tonight. And then it's like 5 times longer than they thought.
I could see that. I don't know where that... Yeah, we'll see. I'm very curious on what... I don't know what the end game is supposed to be. So...
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's more to do after I do this final thing, or there's something else, but there are basically 2 main villains left. So my thought is I'm going to get through both of them in this one dungeon, but there is the possibility that one of them I'll have to clean up afterwards in a second thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I still love it. I love it so much. I like the characters. I like... I still have that sense when I'm playing it of like, oh, I'll stop here. Oh, never mind. I'll just do another day. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like
the Stardew Valley effect.
Kind of. It just keeps going. I would say there are times whenever you feel like you're watching it more than playing it. Like there are chunks where it's like I just went through, there were like 3 days of in-game time where I'm effectively just watching cutscenes. I get to choose some dialogue here and there, but you're basically watching the story until it spits you back out where you can start making decisions again.
And did that bother you? Or is that...
It didn't bother me so much. I'm okay with it. I know I only bring it up because I know it will bother some people.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't bother me because I've made tons of decisions up to this point and I'm invested in the story, so I like being like given like the outcome of what's happening. Supposedly there's multiple endings as well. I don't exactly know how that happens, but
do you have to replay 100 hours to get to the other endings?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So you'll probably finish this week. Do you think you're going to roll over and do a New Game Plus right when it's done?
I don't know.
Or are you going to move on?
That really has to see how I feel when I like. How does the game leave me when I see the credit screen rolling. Like, the only game I can think that I've rolled over and just immediately started playing again was Mass Effect 2. Like, hit the end of Mass Effect 2, I immediately started a new game. And
That's crazy.
It's rare, so we'll see. But
right.
Mass Effect 2, you get to the end of that, you're just so hyped up. Like, I didn't want to be done with those characters in that world. So
right.
I just jumped back in. And we'll see if they can stick the landing. I could see myself just starting this back up on a New Game Plus and starting to progress through it again. I don't know. We'll see how close I am to platinuming it.
Yeah. I think it's always worthy to chase the platinum for games that are just stellar.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I think this is a very doable one. That's the thing.
Yeah. How many trophies do you have right now?
I haven't looked really. I know I got another one recently. So.
Man, I'm so obsessed about trophies. When one pops, I like hit the button to go and see what it was.
I don't want to
break the game.
I don't want to go out of the game for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm in that, and then I got to figure out when I do finish it what's the next thing that I want to play. I mean, Dead Cells, like we said at the beginning, I'll go into that some. But man, I haven't had a game. It's been a good 2 months of just really good games.
Yeah, I mean, to pop from Zelda to this one, and I'm looking very forward to the Game of the Year discussion this year.
Yeah.
And I thought Horizon would be in the conversation for me, but I'm not sure it's going to be.
I need to go back. That's likely. I'll go back and finish Horizon.
Yeah.
At least push through and finish the story. I'm
right.
I think pretty far into it, so I think it'd be worth for me to just finish that one out. But we'll see. I'm starting to get the Twitch to do. I still have your AC Syndicate,
dude,
and that's starting to get the Twitch. Like, maybe I want to go do that.
Oh my god, that game's rad.
Yeah,
do it. This week I'm sending you up Last of Us and Bloodborne. Yeah, so I mean, Bloodborne, obviously that's yours forever. Last of Us, one day, whenever you feel the itch for that.
I will.
But if you're feeling the itch for Syndicate, man, I want you to play that one. That was good. Good. Other game I forgot to mention that I played this week was ARMS. I played ARMS for a solid hour, actually. This weekend was way better than last weekend. The modes were way better. There was 1-on-1, 2-on-2, boss mode where like you're teaming up with like 3 other people to take on the headlock, which is like the boss of the single player. And it randomly generates what level it is. So we had like a level 6 headlock. So we all 3 went after it and just hit it, landed tons of punches and knocked off like a quarter of its health, and we all got decimated. There's a basketball one too, where you're basically it's a tutorial for practicing crabs camouflage as a game. That was fun. Just tons of one-on-one games. Like I love playing it with the controller, not the motion controls, even though the motion controls are fine. I think it's better playing it with the controller. But I did realize if you're playing motion controls, if you punch left or punch right, when you punch left, you can then swerve. You move the controller in to kind of arc the punch.
Yeah.
You can do it with the right hand too, so you can arc them in different directions with motion controls.
Oh wow!
With the controller itself, you can't do that. So if you throw both punches and then you arc with the left stick, they both go in the same direction. Whereas in the game, I could punch forward, left, and then right, and then arc my hands outwards, so they kind of like go out in different directions. And you can do that with motion controls, but not with the controller.
Okay.
So I think it's interesting that there is that small feature missing, depending on the control scheme. And maybe I don't have enough experience with, maybe you can do that, but I tried and I've heard other people say they can't do it as well. But the modes are better. It was funner. It's still, it's a fighting game. It's a Nintendo fighting game. It's much more deliberate. It's a little slower. Like Smash is fast. This is slow. And when you put out a punch, you're really leaving yourself open. So it's really very strategic for a fighting game in a way that's different than like, I don't know, Injustice 2, where you're kind of reading your opponent, or even Smash, like reading your opponent and figuring out like they're going to do like a ground attack or an air attack or some sort of strong. This is more like if they throw out their punch, then I know that I can kind of dodge to the left and then sweep a punch in to their exposed side. It's really, obviously it's boxing, but there was more to it. It was funner. I still don't think it's the game for me, even though it's fun. I don't know how much I would play it. But I'm happy that I enjoyed it way more this week than last week.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad you had a good time with it, though.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I guess that's our episode for this week.
Yeah,
huh?
I think so.
That was a lot. Thanks for staying with us, folks.
It has been a big one.
So we'll come back and tell you what our E3 predictions were after E3 and tell you if we're right or wrong. I think next week is right. We'll be recording after a couple of E3 shows have happened, right? Like Bethesda will have happened by the time we record.
Oh, I don't know what day they do.
I know
Sony is Monday, the 12th.
Yeah, right. Oh, Microsoft. Microsoft is during the weekend.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
So we will be talking about a couple of conferences, I guess,
Yeah, we might. We'll see if we are successful on Microsoft.
Yeah. Okay, so June 10th. Let's see, when's June 10th? Sorry, audience, with the calendar stuff here. June 10th is Saturday. EA will be doing their thing on Saturday. Microsoft does their thing on Sunday at 2 p.m. East Pacific. Bethesda does their thing as well on Sunday. So we will have EA, Xbox, and Bethesda to talk about next week.
Okay.
And then during the week, we've got Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo, obviously. So maybe I don't know what we'll do in terms of the 12th and 13th. Maybe we'll do a couple of episodes, just
I think last year we did some midday.
Yeah, exactly.
Like midweek stuff where we just talked about the...
Yeah, I'd like to do that again if we can.
Work that out.
Yeah, but next week we'll have half the E3 stuff, so we'll know maybe a couple of things that we guessed today. Yeah. Xbox for sure. Cool. Well, thanks for your time, Anthony, and thanks everyone for listening. I am at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. He is at SummerSpeak on Twitter. If you are a barista in San Diego County and you heard one of your customers with our podcast, hit us up on Twitter and say, yes, that was me. I guess if all of you did that, we wouldn't know who it was. Yeah. So maybe that won't actually be very scientific, but what the hell?
Why not?
And then if you want, follow along with us through the month of June. We will be playing Dead Cells, which is an early access game on Steam. Eventually, it will come to Switch. That's been announced, but we're going to play it on the computer.
Yeah. All right, everyone.
All right. Have a great night.